Hey folks, hope you're doing good today. Now today we've got our great friends back on the channel, and it's been really nice. Just recently we've had a few submissions from bands and people that follow the channel that are in my kind of top 10 followers, people that I keep an eye on and that keep making submissions, and you know, we've chatted offline and things like that, which is super nice, and I really love that we've got those kind of people on board with the show. So love these guys. Today we're checking out Triage again. They got a super long track for us, which is why they've got their own show. It's a 9.5 minute track. I can't spin 3 or 4 bands at 9.5 minutes, although we did do 30 odd minutes yesterday with those 4 black and thrash bands. If you got to the end of that video, fair play to you, but it was worth it. Very, very nice bands. I enjoyed all of them. Today the track we're going to check out is called Fenrir, and they did say to me, because I've complained in the past that these guys, they're shredding out on the guitar, high level musicianship in this kind of music, but their videos never show them doing it, and they have said to me in this email, wow, we're camera shy, we don't want to be on it. But still, I would say to you, well, you don't have to show your face on the camera, just do a nice close-up of the shred, of just the guitar, you know, put some effects over the top of it as well, so it doesn't just look like a normal video. Man, that would look really, really cool. So I'm still hoping that they're going to do that at some point. I haven't given up. So let's check out Fenrir. It's a 9.5 minute track. Get yourself comfy, but this one should be nice and sludgy, so let's check it out. Nice big mix. Rumbling. Nice transition. I like the running in the drums. Sounds cool, gives a nice energy, gives a nice kind of bop and run to the music. bass sounds great. think he's using a different tone for this section as well. More of a softer humming tone, but it sounds great. These guys have got a nice fat mix. It's not super wide on the stereo, as you can see, but it's got a fatness to it, a thickness to it, a bassy depth to it. It sounds great. Quite a nice trudge to it now. We've gone from running to trudging. Cool out atmospheric sound. This is where I want to see a quick video of the guitar. You know, you could just film the guitar, overlay it, you know, with some transparency over the top. Now, I think that'd be great. Still open. know. I think they could have done a bit more with that there. Not just had it end, because that was a really nice crescendo. There we go. That's the end of the track. Man, now I don't want this to come across as patronizing, because I really don't mean it in that way, but I'm really proud of these guys. Every time we check these guys out, I've had something to say about their music, and kind of, because these guys do enjoy getting a bit of constructive criticism about their music. You know, they've said to me, yeah, we appreciate that. We you know, we want to hear that kind of stuff. We want that kind of feedback, and not just, yeah, it sounds great and that's all there is to it. And each time I've taken that on board, and I've given them a bit of constructive criticism to try and say, you know, initially I thought the drums could be more interesting. The next track they did, the drums were more interesting. Then I can't remember what I've said to him in the past, but one of the things that I have said to him, and in the last time that I said to him, was the transitions from one riff to the next sometimes can be a bit jarring. And it was generally from the intro into the main part of the track was what I was referencing in that. Their intro in this one was perfect, and it transitioned into the rest of the track perfectly. They got it spot on. It went really, really nicely. I mentioned it at the time in the track, so you'll know at the point that I mean. But yeah, that was perfect. It went. The intro was great. The intro was the right length as well, and then it moved into the next section of the track at the right time and in the right way, very, very nicely. And that's how these guys have stepped this track up from their last track. Although I've still got that complaint for a bit later on in the track. I did feel that drum roll, and then into the more trudging part, and then the transition out of the trudging part into that next section could have still been a little bit smoother. It's a little, you've got to be careful in using pauses and breaks in music. They've got to be at the right time. It's got to be just before a drop. So that it feels like, you know, you're ready to then just drop into it. And I did feel like that drum roll and then the pause after it just didn't quite work. It didn't feel smooth. It didn't feel as smooth as a transition from the intro into the main first riff, as a comparison. But man, this is really splitting hairs at this point. You know, these guys are kind of 95% of the way there now, and just with some tiny incremental changes from this point on, they're getting close to perfection. Because if the transition from the main riff into the trudgy part and then back out of that had been right, this would have been a 10 out of 10 perfect track, in my opinion. They would have said nothing about it other than it's amazing, sounds amazing. I love the sound of it. I love the fact you could hear all the members of the band all the time. The guitars had their own space. They kind of sat up in the kind of 3D space of the mix. They sat up here. The bass was nicely down here, so they didn't clash with each other. You could put your ear on them at all times and hear what they're doing. And then the drums had their own space as well. And the drums were kind of a bit sat back from that as well. So it had a nice 3D sound to it, and all the elements of the band had their own space. So I'm not talking about these guys' mixes or anything like that anymore. They've dialed all that in. It sounds amazing. They've got great tones on their instruments. The drummer's doing a whole load of stuff on his drum kit. That great running pulse within the music, then more into the trudgy stuff. He was moving the energy about great. It was just that transition with the drum fill and then the transition out of that trudgy section, just for me personally, could have been a bit smoother. Just like we did with the intro, where it just smoothly went into the next riff perfectly. There you go. These guys are absolutely killing it. Every time we see them on the channel, they've got another 10-minute track for us to check out, and it's a step up, and it's more of a it's more of a better listen for the listener, because some of their earlier tracks had the transition from one section to the next was really quite jarring, because it was like they had a great idea for a riff, another great idea for a riff, but they didn't quite know how to glue the two riffs together. There's got to be a bit of an in-between, and there's some glue from one riff to the next. And sometimes getting that transition and working out how to transition from one to the next is the hard part, because you can come up with a riff, you can come up with another riff, but how do you get them to glue together? How do you go from one riff to the next? That's the kind of, cream on top with this kind of music to get it perfect. But these guys are heading in the right direction. They're almost there. 2 transitions out on this track. In a track with a bunch of transitions is pretty damn good. So don't think I'm digging at you. I'm really, really proud of these guys. Every time they've been on the channel, they've stepped it up, and their music's got better. And for a 9-minute listen, when you're making 9-minute tracks, it's got to be good, because if you crap, after 2 minutes, we're already bored, and then we got another 7 minutes to go. So, you've got to be good when you're making 9-minute tracks. These guys are great, and they've just got that little last bit of polish before they're absolutely superb band, making music that you just get absolutely lost in for 9.5 minutes straight. Sick. Thanks for making another submission, guys. As I say, we've had a few bands and people on the channel recently who are in my top 10, which these guys are, of followers and subscribers and people who make submissions and are on board with this channel and get something out the channel, get something out the reviews, and follow other bands that are on the channel and stuff like that. Sick. Love it. So yeah. Very, very nice, guys. Hope you're having a good Friday. If you're out over tonight and gigging and stuff, just be safe. See you around, guys. Bye.